Welcome back, everybody, to the Seattle Sonics MyNBA series here on NBA 2K21. I'm sorry it's been quite a few days since the last Sonics video, but I've been working very hard on the draft class, which we will get to take a look at some of the players in the class today with a prospect profile, which I'll be going over in just a second. So our Sonics are currently 17-44. We're dead last in every power rankings. We're second to last in the standings, only behind the Orlando Magic. And long story short, this is not a great basketball team. And since we're about 3/4 of a way through the season, I think I want to get through the rest of this regular season fairly quickly. So I think I'm probably only going to do 2 more regular season episodes, including this one. So we have today, the next episode that will conclude the regular season, and then we will eventually hop into the off season. We also had the All-Star festivities today as well. We will go over those in just a second, but first it's time to talk about the prospect profile, and we're going to be looking at shooting guards and small forwards. We drafted wing heavy in the expansion draft, specifically our top 2 picks being Cam Reddish and Jordan Poole. But as you guys know, I like to build my teams through strong wing play, so don't be surprised if we end up with a couple of these guys during the draft. At shooting guard, it is a pretty solid class. You got quite a few first-round projected guys. Only one player projected to go in the lottery, and Jayon Azkavan, who is currently the 4th projected player in the class. And small forward, it might be the most loaded position in this draft class. 2 top 3 guys, 5 in the top 8. 6 in the lottery. So let's take a deep dive. Let's take a look at some of these players' highlights and film and try to figure out who could be some of the first draft picks of this series for our Seattle Sonics. So as I previously stated, Jayon Azkavan is a player to really look out for. He is currently playing for the G League Ignite, taking the same route that fellow top prospects Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga took. Azkavan is a phenomenal scorer. He does need to work on his shooting a little bit inconsistent there, but he can get to the hole. And defensively, he is no slouch. He's actually a very versatile defender. And even though he's only 6'4", he's actually quite good inside defensively, which is fairly odd for someone of his size. Also has outstanding athleticism, so pretty much he's a slightly more raw version of Jalen Green, but someone who I absolutely expect will and should be a top 5 pick. We're going to cover 3 players for the University of Washington today because their squad is loaded. The Huskies are currently the #1 team in the nation, and their top scorer is Tony Clapp. As you can see on that play, Clapp is not very good on defense, and that is his big weakness, a complete liability there. But offensively, he is super talented, phenomenal shooter. He can get to the hole. And this is a guy who can get microwave buckets. And that's what teams, specifically contenders, look for in a 6th-man type of player. So I think that's what you could get with Tony Clapp in the middle of the first round. We don't have highlights for Jim Arnold, but I do want to go over him. He is from Canada, has spent most of this season injured, so that's why we don't have any film on him. But talent-wise is really good, very talented combo guard. Someone who, despite his injury, should still be a mid-first round pick. One of my favorite sleepers in this draft class is Nathan K. Jr. out of Memphis. Really good 3-and-D guy. This is a player who I think is going to be a really solid role player in the NBA for a long time. Don't ever think he's going to be a star-level guy, but this is someone who I think is going to be able to contribute on an NBA team for a decade plus. With someone with his knockdown shooting and very solid perimeter defense, and I think it'll be very unlikely that he does not get picked in the first round because that's the type of talent he is. Darius Winston out of Murray State is one of my big sleepers in this draft class. He's pretty much the Walmart version of Ja Morant, which is still really solid. A very explosive guard who on the open floor is really impressive. Great athleticism, solid scorer as well, has a knockdown 3-point shot, solid playmaker as well. He's not the passer that Ja Morant is, and he's not as athletic as Ja, but I see why there's a comparison, and it's not just because of the Murray State connection. As we look at small forward, a possible #1 pick candidate is Diami Christensen out of Washington. The issue with him is that he's already 21. He's not some one-and-done freshman. He's been in college for a few seasons, has missed a lot of time with injury, but has been healthy this year and has been superb. He is not a lethal scorer, but he is improving there. Really good playmaker for someone of his size. He pretty much runs the Washington offense, even though he's pretty much a small forward. Lockdown perimeter defender, great athleticism, really talented kid. If he was 19 years old, I think he'd be undoubtedly the first overall pick, but I still expect him to go in the top 5. Another likely top 5 pick is Zaquan Hobbs out of Gonzaga. I don't think Hobbs is in serious consideration of being the number 1 pick, but to be honest, I think he should be. He's a really good scorer, needs to improve around the basket, but he's a great mid-range shooter, knockdown three-point shooter, and the rest of his game is well-rounded. Good playmaker, good defender, great athleticism. I think he should be a sleeper number 1 pick candidate, and yeah, I think it's a little bit odd to call him a sleeper, considering everyone recognizes him as a top 5 prospect, but I still think he's one of the more underlooked players in this draft class. And if the Sonics are picking in the top 3, look out for Zaquan Hobbs to be a player they heavily consider. Christensen and Hobbs are pretty much the top tier of small forwards, 2 blue chip prospects. But now we take a look at the next tier, headlined by Minnesota's Freeman Alexander. Alexander leads all freshmen in points per game in the Big Ten, and although he is inefficient as a scorer, that's why some of his scoring attributes are a little bit lower, he still knows how to put the ball in the basket. The problem is, again, efficiency. Barely shooting over 30% from beyond the arc, but he has shown a lot of improvement on his three-point shot the past couple of seasons, has really worked on his shooting motion, good playmaker, good athleticism, needs to improve on defense, but he's a guy who I think, as of now, would be a back-end top 10 pick. Ziggy Dujuiced out of Kentucky. Really intriguing player. He was the number 1 player in the class at the beginning of the season, and his stock has gone down a little bit. He hasn't had a bad season per se. I still expect him to be a lottery pick, but he hasn't necessarily lit the world on fire like people expected. I know it says he's from Gonzaga there, but that's not true. He's from Kentucky. Next up, we will take a look at Rayshon Brooks out of the University of Auburn. Really, really good defender, and we have so many talented offensive forwards in this draft class, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's refreshing to find someone who's a lockdown defender like Brooks, who also has some skills on offense. He's an inconsistent jump shooter. However, he's not totally awful there, but obviously defense is his strong suit, and I think he could be an all-NBA defender early on. We saw Isaac Okoro come out of Auburn a few years ago. I think he's a less athletic but more polished version of Isaac Okoro. Another really good defender in this class is Zytavius Storm out of Oklahoma State. Versatile forward, he can play the 3 and the 4. Has a Jonathan Isaac-like skill set. I know Isaac has been heavily criticized recently. We're not going to talk about the reasons there. I don't want to get political. But on the floor, he does compare a lot to Jonathan Isaac, which is a good thing. Is not a great three-point shooter, really a raw offensive player, but he's a versatile defensive player, really athletic, and someone who I think the Sonics might want to take a shot on towards the end of the first round. Derek Sadaz Terashington out of Oregon is a really intriguing player. Has the signature long sleeve shirt that he wears for every game, and he is an awesome defender. Needs to improve offensively. He's not a great shooter, although that shot right there was pretty smooth, I'm not going to lie. But offensively, he's not great. He's currently averaging under 8 points per game this season at Oregon, but that does not make him a disappointment with his playmaking and his defense. I think he's a well-rounded basketball player. He's just not a great scorer. The third and final player from the University of Washington we're going to take a look at is O'Shea Falcone. Of the 3 Washington Huskies, Falcone is likely the last one who's going to get picked, but don't get it twisted, this kid can play. When Christensen, who we talked about earlier, is not the main playmaker, generally it's O'Shea Falcone, who also has an ability to run the offense. He's a little bit inconsistent as a scorer, but he's a talented defender. He's a versatile defender as well, 6'8", can defend in the post and the perimeter, great athleticism, really, really talented kid. The final prospect we're going to be taking a deep dive into is Kyrie Parker out of Oregon State. Knockdown three-point shooter, and I think his ability to space the floor will really make teams want to take a look at him towards the end of the first round. The Sonics have not been a great shooting team this year, so maybe they would take a look at him with their late first-round pick they acquired from Memphis earlier in the season. Parker is not a great defender. He has solid athleticism, but his jump shot is what really makes him a great prospect. I do briefly want to go over one more prospect. He's actually a power forward, and I'm really going to talk about him in the next prospect profile, but I wanted to go over him real quickly here. Buzz Wigginton Jr. out of Michigan. He is the #1 projected player in the class. He is who everybody is currently tanking for. I don't think it's a sure thing he'll be the top pick, but that's what it's trending towards. So I just figured I would let you guys know who he is. We will take a deeper dive into his game in the next prospect profile, which I guess will be in the next episode. But again, I didn't want to introduce you to the likely #1 pick during the last regular season episode. So there you go. Which shooting guards and small forwards do you guys really like? Let me know who you think we should look to draft in the comments below. And now let's talk about the current Sonic squad as we start with All-Star Weekend. We're going to keep the All-Star festivities pretty brief because, well, we don't really have many participants. We do not have any All-Stars this season, which is not a surprise. When you pick players out of an expansion pool, you don't really expect them to be All-Star caliber players year one. And if they are, you got to be questioning what those teams were doing by unprotecting them. The dunk contest should be fun with Zion and Ja. The three-point contest has 6 legitimate All-Stars in there, and we do have a representative on the Rising Stars team in big man Xavier Tillman. Tillman's had an up-and-down season this year. I think he played a little bit better towards the beginning of the season, has been a little bit banged up at times, but it is good to see him getting recognized. He is the only one of our players who will be participating in any of the All-Star festivities this season, so we're going to briefly go over the Futures game, the three-point contest, dunk contest, all-star game, stuff like that, and then we will get to today's game. Team USA beats Team World by 53 in the Rising Stars game. Tillman only had 2 points and 3 rebounds, but he also had 6 assists, which is kind of cool. Cade Cunningham led all scorers with 23 points. He wins the game's MVP. Jason Tatum wins the three-point contest, and Zion Williamson takes home the dunk contest. And then in the All-Star game, Zion in 14 minutes scores 21 points for Team Giannis, who was down by 18 points entering the fourth quarter and won. For whatever reason, JJ Redick, who is somehow averaging 54 points per game, is getting All-Star game minutes. And Gary Payton II, the son of Sonics legend Gary Payton, who is somehow averaging 34 points per game, is also on the team. 2K is just glitching with that. I don't know why that's the case, but oh well. So we're going to simulate up to this game against our expansion rivals, the St. Louis Spirits. I figured I wanted to play them again. We would hit the contract deadline, so I figured, why not take a look at who needs extensions, and there are quite a few players who are eligible, including Jordan Poole and Cam Reddish, who will be restricted free agents in the Season 2 offseason, not this one, but the next one. Jordan Poole does not want a lot of money, only around $10 million a year. We're gladly going to take that. So Jordan Poole is going to be under contract for another 3 years after next season. Cam Reddish does not want to resign for whatever reason. That's not ideal. But we have a ton of players under team control next year. Other than Bol, everybody either has a team option or is under contract next year, which is great. What's not great is Josh Hart suffering a broken vertebrae, which will end his season, which is really unfortunate. I think Josh Hart had a productive season for us, so that definitely sucks. He has been a great spark plug for us, whether that's off the bench or in the starting lineup. In the, how many games is that? 9 games we simmed. We only won 1. It was against the Phoenix Suns. 17 for Bol, 16 for Reddish, Poole with 15, a few other guys in the double figures as well. But yeah, the team did not do well coming out of the All-Star break, which really was not a major surprise. We now officially have the worst record in the NBA as we take on the St. Louis Spirits, who are fighting for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. They traded away Malik Beasley earlier in the season to Oklahoma City for Ty Jerome and I believe a couple of draft picks. So the Spirits are winning games, even though their roster is not all that spectacular, although it is definitely better than the Sonics. St. Louis wins the tip, and we are underway. Sonics up 2-0 as it's Killer Cam Reddish for 3. Reddish with 3 boards in the first minute and a half. I guess taking over for Josh Hart, who would normally be grabbing all those rebounds. Jordan Poole misses the shot, but Kelly Oubre grabs the rebound. Sonics up 7-0. Really good start here for Seattle, setting the tone early as Thaddeus Young gets a big shot over the head of Jordan Poole. Thaddeus Young a little bit banged up today, but he is going to play. Young runs by Poole and slams it home. Thaddeus Young may be hobbling down the court, but he has had no issues offensively. There's a nice 3 ball in the corner for John Wall. That'll bring you within 1. Wall leads the Spirits in scoring this season and has really rejuvenated his career this season with St. Louis. Nice move by Jaden Springer, a player who I'm really focused on these final 10 or so games of the season. Get him some more minutes, see what he can do. Goran Dragic with a nice move despite tough defense from Cam Payne, now 12-11. A defensive battle for the most part so far. Not a ton of offense quite yet, as Jeremy Lamb will put the Spirits ahead. Remember when the Sonics had that nice 7-0 lead? Yeah, those were good times. Melo with a tough pass for Nerlens Noel. No good. Grabs for rebound to Dragic to a wide open Carmelo Anthony for 3. Seattle calls time as the Spirits are currently on a 16-5 run. The Sonics offense is completely blanked for the past couple of minutes, and things would not get much better out of the timeout. Goran Dragic hits for 3. Dragic dominated the first time these two teams played. If you remember, John Wall was out for that game as Carmelo steals it away from Justice Winslow to get the putback, and it's now 21-14. Sonics could use a bucket here. Jaden Springer heaves it up, and he's blocked. But Kelly Oubre does retrieve it. He gets the putback. 4 and 3 here in the first quarter for Oubre. Not looking too shabby. Tough shot by Carmelo, and it goes in. Melo doing push-ups on the ground, as that would conclude the first quarter. A rough start offensively for the Seattle Sonics, as they are down 18-25, now down 20-25 here in the second quarter. As John Wall posterizes the big fella. He blew by Ayo Dosunmu to get the slam. 20-27. Wall has it again with a great pass inside, and a nice dunk for Al Horford. 20-29. Reddish blocked at the rim, gets his own rebound. It's going to go for a reverse lay-in. Reddish with 6 boards in the first half, grabbing a ton of rebounds early. Dosunmu inside for Xavier Tillman has not reached the scoreboard yet, but he does now, and it feels like Seattle's offense is starting to play a little bit better. BJ Boston now going for the fadeaway, misses, grabs his own rebound. Another offensive board for Seattle, and a putback for Boston, who is 6. 26-35, Hampton off the screen for Kelly Oubre Jr. for 3. Nice shot for Oubre, as it's now 29-37. Even with Seattle playing better offensively, St. Louis is right in there. Bol gets the two-handed slam. That'll make it 31-37. Reddish off the catch and shoot. No good. Oubre with another offensive rebound, and he gets the putback. The Sonics really doing a good job offensively of grabbing boards, as Yanya's blocked at the rim. Kelly Oubre continuing his great first half. Reddish out to R.J. Hampton, trying to blow by John Wall. That's a tough task to do as he heaves it up, but it goes in. The Sonics are now only down by 2 all of a sudden, 37-39. As there is Al Horford with the fadeaway. I don't know why Jordan Poole is guarding some of these big men inside. That's where his assignment has been most of the day, which is strange considering he is not a post player. Carmelo sinks the 3. Nice day offensively so far for Melo. Looking like his former New York Knicks self as Jaden Springer gets the and 1. He fooled Jeremy Lamb on the pump fake. Sinks the shot, gets the and 1. Now 42-48 on the fast break. Oubre with a dart inside for Cameron Payne. A couple of former Phoenix Suns there making the play as it's now 44-50. Jeremy Lamb passes it out for Melo for a wide open Goran Dragic. The Dragon hits the 3. Seattle trying to get a playoff as Cam Payne can't find anybody. Heaves it up at the buzzer, and it is no good. Not a great first half here for the Seattle Sonics. They did look better offensively in the second quarter, but still find themselves down by 9. Oubre and Reddish have stood out for Seattle. For the Spirits, it's John Wall who leads the way with 13. One of the second half. Poole in the corner for a wide open Cameron Reddish, who makes the 3. The Sonics are not going to quit. They're going to keep fighting here against their rivals. Kyle Kuzma gets the slam. Quiet first half for Kuzma. He did not do a whole lot, but making his presence known early in the third. But Jordan Poole answers right back with a dunk of his own. Nice slam for Poole, who's been a little bit quiet today, only 6 points. As the Sonics choose not to defend Kyle Kuzma, that's a bold strategy. Nice start to the third quarter here for Kuzma as the Sonics are down by 11. Hampton pulls up from 3, no good, but another offensive board for Seattle. Cam Reddish with the putback, nearing a double-double. He is 10 and 8. Reddish now sinks the 3. Big shot for Reddish, who's hot early in the third. He has 8 points since the halftime break. Seattle only down by 8, but John Wall is going to dash by R.J. Hampton. Even though John Wall is older, he still has his speed. that really headlined his game at a younger age. Wall, again, does the exact same thing. And R.J. Hampton's a really quick player, super fast himself. But John Wall, just no issues there. I don't know why the Spirits left Cam Reddish wide open. It seemed like there was some miscommunication there defensively as he makes the three. Justice Winslow heaves it up, misses, grabs for rebound, gets for putback. The Sonics' offense has definitely improved throughout this game, but they are down by 12, and the defense has been rough here in the third quarter. Some miscommunication there. Jeremy Lamb hits the wide open three. Sonics getting a last-second shot off as Jaden Springer makes the layup. He now has 11. The St. Louis Spirits are pretty much going to have to heave it up from full court. It's Carmelo. No good, but that was close. Not a great third quarter for the Seattle Sonics. Their defense did not look great there as we get to the fourth. Carmelo off the screen. Hits the triple, and the Spirits lead by 16, now by 18. On the fast break. Nice slam for Jeremy Lamb. It is a 20-point lead. Now an 18-point game again. Wall darts by Campaign and gets another slam. At this point of the game, the Sonics are down by 20. It really does not look like they're going to come back. So we're going to skip forward to the end, and the St. Louis Spirits would maintain roughly a 20-point lead throughout the rest of the game. They're going to win this one. 120-100 is your final. Not a great defensive showing there by the Seattle Sonics, particularly in the second half where St. Louis really exploded offensively. The Sonics did improve on offense as the game went along, but overall not a great performance. John Wall, Carmelo Anthony, and Goran Dragic combined for 75 points. No, it's not 2015 anymore. I don't know how that's possible. The Spirits finished with 67 points in the final half of action. Cam Reddish did not quite get a double-double. He had 18 and 9, but on 20 shots. Kelly Oubre, 17 and 8. Jaden Springer with a nice game, 16 points in just 10 minutes. So again, we're really going to look to give Springer some more minutes, maybe even start him for these final 10 or so games, as that's where we're going to conclude today's episode. I wanted to get through around 10 games today. In the next episode, we're going to go over power forwards and centers in the upcoming NBA draft class, and then we're going to go over the final 10 games of the regular season as we get here towards the end of season number 1. Let me know what you would like to see us do in the off season. Of course, with the draft as well, you guys have a better feel for the draft class now that we've looked at the wings, and we're going to take a look at the bigs next episode as well. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell as well. Peace out.